Hello everyone, and welcome to Strong Dragon Training, the flame of fitness. My name is Dragos, and I'll be taking you guys today through stretches for the abs and the lower body in complement of the workout that we have posted a couple of days ago on the abs and the lower body. Before we go any further, I would like to remind you guys to please like and subscribe to our channel for more amazing content like we have been posting up until today. And also to remind you that below this video we have the link to the short version of the stretch routine. In that one, I just go through the stretches without any kind of explanatory content to give you guys just a little bit of guidance of which stretches we recommend, again, complementing the workout that we've done on the legs and the abs a couple of days ago. In this video, we're going to go through two different types of stretches, ones that we'll be doing on the floor and the standing ones. This way, we can give you guys a lot of options and different ways of stretching the muscles that we have worked the other day. So without any further ado, let's dive right into the stretches and see which ones are best and which ones we recommend to be most effective. So before we begin any kind of stretches, I want to remind you guys never ever to statically stretch cold muscles. And by that I mean if you're just waking up in the morning or if just throughout the day you decide, you know what, I'm going to stretch a little bit. Never just start going into a stretch that you hold for 30 to 60 seconds, right? You want to do something before that called either a warm-up or dynamic stretching. So for example, if I was to dynamically stretch my lower body, I would start kicking the legs up, kicking my backside with my heels, moving my knees up and down, in to out. In this method, you are still stretching the muscle a little bit, but you're not putting forceful stretch onto it, right? It's just where the muscle is used to moving and the type of movement that it's used to, and this way you promote blood flow to the specific muscle, to the specific area. So once you've done all of this, you are then able to go into a static stretch where you elongate the muscles and challenge them to stretch a little bit more than what they're used to. So this kind of dynamic stretch is probably seen in runners or bikers and things like that, where before you see them go into a hamstring stretch or a quad stretch, you see them do all these different kinds of movements, and then prior to the run, they stretch the muscle in a traditional static stretching. Without a dynamic stretch, static stretching a cold muscle can result in pulling the muscle, straining, maybe even tearing muscles, so you want to be very careful on that. These kinds of static stretches are great during your workout, after your workout, but ideally not before your workout unless you've done maybe a treadmill run before or a bike, something to warm yourself up, okay? But having that in mind, let's go into the static stretches now and work our way from the back of the leg to the front. And the first one is the hamstring stretch. Now, from a standing point of view, this can be done in really two different ways. And it's very common. I can guarantee you guys have seen this at one point or another. One way you can do is just by literally putting the foot you want to stretch in front of you and bending on the back leg, keeping the leg you are trying to stretch in front of you and reaching down for the toe. Okay, so you can do that on both sides, or you can have your feet flat on the floor next to each other, knees straight, and just reaching down for your toes. All of these ones stretch the back of your leg or the hamstring. Another common way to do it is having an obstacle that you prop your leg on, okay? So in this case, you have the supporting leg nice and relaxed, aka you don't lock the knee on that one. The leg that is being stretched, you do lock the knee, and then again, you aim to stretch for the toe, all right? So your goal is to try and get your hands to touch your toes, right? Hence the whole idea where touching your toes is very difficult, is a good way to test somebody's flexibility in different kind of fitness exams. From the back of the leg, we're going to go to the outside, to the abductor, okay? And for this one of my most favorite ones to stretch the abductor is crossing my legs like so, having the front leg unlocked, and this is my support leg so that I don't lose balance and fall left, right, or center, and the back of my leg, or the leg in the back rather, is straight. From here, what I'm trying to do is I'm again reaching for my toe, but because the way that my legs are set up, the leg that's being stretched is almost across my body and I'm reaching towards the leg that's supporting me, that kind of stretch goes right on the side of your leg into your butt. Okay, so with this one, you go boom down, you hold your stretch for 30 to 60 seconds, breathing nice and easily. You don't want a forceful breath. And another thing you don't want to do in any kind of stretch is pumping it. Pumping the stretch away. I've shown you guys this in my previous videos. It's never a good idea to pump that stretch away, because again, you have the risk of tearing and injuring your muscle. So you want to go gently into that stretch down. You want to hold it, and in the muscle that you're stretching, or the area that you're stretching, in this case, the side of my leg and very little in the back of my leg, I want to feel a slight discomfort, a very easy stretch into the muscle, right? You don't want to feel anything that's pinching or pulling too much. And sometimes when you have maybe an injury that is almost healed, or a fresh injury, which by the way, you got to be careful when a fresh injury is in the muscle. Stretching is not always necessarily the best approach. So before you stretch, or before you think that, oh, I'm just going to stretch it out, you might want to consult a healthcare professional and see what exactly is wrong with that muscle and what's the extent of the injury before you stretch it and you damage more. Okay, but if your muscle is tight, maybe you're 2 days after leg day and you have this soreness and tightness in your muscle, maybe in your normal days you're able to go all the way down the toes, but now you can't go beyond this point. So go and work with what your body can and cannot do to be able to feel just that light pull. When you do, stop there. Let the muscle and the body relax and go into the stretch. If you really need to, after 30 seconds, you can come out of the stretch for a little bit, and then for the second 30 seconds, go and attempt just a little bit deeper. But be very mindful of that, okay? Stretch number 3 is for your quads. So again, a very traditional stretch. You hang on to something, you grab your ankle, keep the knee of the leg that's being stretched next to the supporting leg. Don't let it point out, such as so. Keep it straight down and point to the floor. Back is straight, and from the side, pull the heel as close as you can to your glutes or to your butt. In this one, you're going to feel a stretch right in the front of the leg going into your hip, right? And the further back you can, pull the knee just a little bit backwards to get that deeper stretch right into the quads or the front of your leg, okay? Moving on from that one, going to the inside of the leg. Again, a very common stretch for this one is to separate your legs out a little bit, keep the knees straight on both sides, and then lean to one side or another. By leaning to one or the other side, you are stretching the inside or the adductor of the leg of the side in which you're stretching. So if I'm going to the right, I'm stretching the right leg. Going to the left, I'm putting pressure on the inside of the left leg. So with this one, you can almost hit 2 birds with 1 stone in the sense that you can stretch your obliques as well. So from here, what you can do, arm above, and then go to the one side, keep your back from going too far forward, reach over towards the side, keep the knee of the leg that you're stretching straight, and go as deep as possible. You're going to feel a stretch on the side of your body, a stretch on the inside of your leg, and you gently hold that there for 30 to 60 seconds. Once you're ready to come out of it, gently come out to a straight position, and then go to the other side. And bend, stretch. Ooh, that feels very nice. And then come on back out to center. Okay? From this position as well, another way to hit 2 birds with 1 stone, and in other words, stretch the flexors of your legs as together with your rectus abdominis, the 6-pack on the front. Keep your position wide, support your lower back. I tend to go like this just for a little bit of support and almost pushing in a controlled way forward, because what you're looking to do on this one is lean back and stretch forward as much as you can. From the top where your 6-pack connects all the way down to your quads. You feel even a little bit in the front of your legs. You are stretching everything out. And then come on back after 30 to 60 seconds. Especially be careful on this one, because here you're working with contorting your spine in a way that it doesn't necessarily like to be contorted, okay? So by going backwards like this, you want to be very gentle and very careful as to how far back your spine and your back muscles allow you to go before you feel the stretch in the front of your body. When you do, boom, you're stopping. You're holding there 30 to 60 seconds and then gently come out of it. Again, this one especially, you do not want to jerkily jump out of it and injure your lower back, because this one is not just a thing about you injuring the muscle that you're stretching, but you have a risk of injuring your lower back as well. And one more exercise that I want to show you guys for the upper part of the legs is for the glutes themselves. And this one is probably, I like to call it a figure 4 standing stretch, right? This is where you're balancing on one leg. You can hold and support yourself onto something like a wall or a pole like I'm doing, but you're putting the leg on top of your supporting leg, and from here you are bending the supporting knee and leaning forward at the same time without allowing the leg that is being stretched to come up. Push down on that knee, bend the supporting leg, and lean forward at the same time. This one hits right on the other side into the gluteus and goes in to the piriformis as well. Depending on how good your flexibility is, you can go deeper and deeper and deeper into it and really get very, very deep into the gluteus, maximus, minimus, and the piriformis. So everything you do on one side, you gotta do on both sides. You hold, nice and easy, and remember the back as well. When you stretch for these kinds of movements, you don't want your back to be hunched over like this. You still keep your back straight and you bend at hip level. Coming up right out of it, nice and easy. For the calves, moving down on the other leg, all you really need is a support like a wall or a pole or anything like that where your foot can go against. Now you gotta remember on this one, because in the calf you got two different muscles that you would really, really want to stretch. The superficial part of the calf, which is the gastrocnemius, and the deep part of the calf, which is the soleus. You can stretch the gastrocnemius by keeping your knee straight, locked out, putting your toe against the wall, and then bringing your whole body towards the wall. Now this one stretches the part of the calf that you see on the outside, the gastrocnemius. To get the soleus in, all you need to do is bend the knee, so keep it bent. It doesn't have to be a 90, a 45, 35, or 29.57. It can be just a little bit of a bend, and you again pull yourself close to the object that you're pushing against, okay? So the toe is still up against, you lean forward with a straight back, and the straight knee one, you're gonna feel it in the upper part of your calf, whereas the bend knee one is going to go just a little bit deeper. So you'll be stretching the tendon. That stretch you'll be feeling a little bit more than in the other gastrocnemius stretch, but also the area that the stretch feels the most in is a little bit lower than what you consider to be your calf muscle. And the one last part that you don't really want to forget about is the front of the leg, the tibia. This is one of the other common areas where, especially runners, if they don't stretch their legs properly, they get shin splits. And one way you can combat that is to grab your toe and to pull it away, to stretch the front part of your lower leg out. Now, it doesn't need to stop at just you stretching out straight. You want to twist your ankle just a little bit towards either the inside of your body, or in my case, towards the upper part of my body, to get that tibia, or the tibialis muscle rather, stretched out in exactly the right portion. And for me, this is the exact point where I feel it all the way from the bottom to where the tibialis inserts. Boom, right in there. I feel a nice gentle stretch in the front part of my lower leg. All right, and the final stretch for the standing portion of these stretches is for a lower back. Now, when I've shown you the figure 4 and the hamstring stretch and all of these different stretches, when you stretch the gluteus, you also hit that lower back a little bit as well, right? Everything is interconnected, everything stretches and loosens up one or the other. But one thing that I always like to encourage my clients to stretch with as well is keeping the legs just a little bit wider than shoulder width apart. Keep the knees straight but not locked out. And from there, you just bend forward and let everything as loose as possible, right? We've covered a couple of stretches in the pull muscle stretches, right? When we stretch the lats, the trapezius, the lower back and all that. But this is another type of stretch that I add in both my back days and my leg days. So from the side, literally all I do is I let the weight of my upper body come down and the weight of the arms just dangling out. Now, if you keep your knees completely locked out, this is gonna turn into a complete hamstring stretch. Your lower back won't have anything to do with that. But if you keep your knees unlocked, straight but unlocked, and you curve right at the lower back and go as deep as possible, leave as much weight from your upper body, pull down towards the ground as you can, your hamstring are almost out of the equation completely, and your lower back right in here gets a nice good pull out of it. Especially out of this one, again, you want to be careful coming up, because if you suffer with the blood pressure, dropping of the blood pressure when you stand up from the floor, this will have the similar effect. So standing up and out of a bent over stretch like that could cause your blood pressure to go down, and you'll get headaches or head spins and things like that, and you may fall over. So be very careful when you do that kind of a stretch. So from the standing point of view, these are a couple ideas that you guys can do right after our leg workout. Now let's go to the floor ones. Alright guys, so here we go with the floor stretches, okay? So the options for these ones are, and we're going to start again with the back of the leg or the hamstrings. So similar to when you're standing, you want your knees to be as straight as possible and as locked out as possible to engage, or rather stretch, the hamstrings as much as you can, okay? So from here, I'm keeping my legs nice and straight, close to each other. The closer your legs are, when you stretch forward, the more you're going to start feeling the stretch going towards the outside of the hamstring. Whereas when you're wider apart, you're gonna feel it more coming towards the inside. So the first stretch that I would recommend for you guys to do on this one is with the feet flat together, reach as far out as you can towards the toe without allowing this to happen to your knees. Keep the knees flat on the floor and then stretch out. Hold 30 to 60 seconds. Nice and easy breath, just like we did with the standing ones. And again, no pumping of the muscle. The other one, after you're done this one, is you're gonna open your legs a little bit wider and you're going to go right into the center as low as possible. This one you're going to feel more into the inside of the leg, but still on the hamstring side. Boom, you're nice and long, reaching out. So what you can do from here is, just like when we did the standing ones, we crossed over the leg. The front one was the one that was unlocked and giving you the support. The back one was the one that was being stretched, and you felt it on the abductor or glute side as well. Similar to on the floor. You're going to cross over your legs and you're going to reach out. Now notice this knee is going to bend a little bit, and that's completely fine in this case, because you're trying to reach out to the leg as far as you can, and this one is going to allow your stretch to be more on the outside of the leg. So just to do it on this side so you guys can see just a little bit better, I'm reaching out. Right on the side over here is where you're trying to get the stretch out of it. Similarly, what you can do is you can put your leg right on the inside of your thigh, like so, and reach forward onto the leg. You gotta though be careful on this one, because if you find your leg to be a little bit too far out and you're stretching into it, you're going back into the hamstring. So you gotta be careful to be perfectly aligned with the leg from both hip posture and your body, and then reaching forward over to the leg to get on the side. The safest stretch that I recommend: cross your legs over, boom, lean in as far as possible. Yes, you're going to feel it in the hamstring a little bit, just like you did when you were standing, but now you're moving on the outside a little bit as well, okay? From there, we're going to go to the front side of the leg, and there's a couple of different ways to stretch this one. The most effectively that I recommend is based on how tight your quads are, or the front of your leg. You can just literally sit like this and feel a stretch going up. If you need more of an impulse from this one and a little bit more of a push, you can start now going backwards and stretch to the point where you're down to your elbows. Now, the one thing you want to be careful on this one: align your knees so that they're pointed straight forward. The more they go outside, the more you're going to lose the stretch out of the front of your calves. So fight your knees as much as possible to keep them parallel to each other, pointing downwards, okay? And also with this one, please be very mindful of your back, because you might feel that, okay, I'm getting a stretch over here, but from here down to your elbows, it's a big change, right? And you can notice too how the front of my knees are lifting up a little bit and my back is curving just slightly. So even for me at this point, I'm not flexible enough for the next level. So if I was in my position, I would prefer to just do this one and work on my quad stretch, just bending the elbows more and more to get that stretch in before I would go to the elbow part, okay? Now from here, what you can do for the inner part of the legs is, again, we're mimicking the standing ones. You're going to open your legs as far as possible you can. You can also go into the splits. Now, that one is an option if you are that flexible. If you are not, open your legs as wide as you can this way and then start leaning forward as much as you can. Ideally, you want your upper body to be flat on the floor. Now, obviously, I'm not that flexible, so yoga and flexibility is not my forte when it comes to the gym, unfortunately, but I am working on it. So in this position right here, the inside of your legs get the most burn, okay? So the version of the floor stretch of this one, just like with the standing one, have your legs apart, boom, you go in the center, and you get both sides in, right? What you also can do on this one that can target your obliques as well, just like with the standing one, go to the one leg and overhead with the arm, stretch in, trying to touch the toe. So your hand and your fingers of the top hand is aiming for the toe, standing up straight, and then going over to the other side as much as possible. Now this one I personally find is a little bit more of an aggressive stretch on the obliques as well as your adductors, more than the standing one. So if you can, mix and match between the two, standing and sitting. For the adductors and the obliques, this stretch over is the best one to do, okay? Moving forward from there into the rectus abdominis, one of the more common stretches for that, hitting the rectus and the hip flexors, is this stretch right here. I believe in yoga this is called a cobra. So going up, looking towards the ceiling, the hands are nice and close to your body. The closer they are, the better. And reaching back. Do be very careful, just like with the standing one, to your lower back, to your spine. You are putting your spine in a very weak position, a very uncomfortable position here. So look for the stretch, but do not go too far back to upset your lower back. What you also can do as this one as an option to hit it, the hip flexors at the same time as the rectus, is the knee of the leg being stretched is far back. Your support is on the front leg, so you can have your hands on here, and then from here, lean back. the stretch to your flexors going up lightly into your abdominals is going to accomplish almost the same thing as the cobra stretch. Right, so you get one side, you push out, you switch legs, you press your hips forward, you get that flexor stretched out, and from there, you start looking up and leaning back to get the rectus abdominis involved as well. And you come right out of it, okay? From here, the figure 4 that we've done in the standing position, it overlaps with the stretches I've shown you guys in the pull muscles. So from here, you're going to cross your legs, grab the leg in between, and then pull it close to you. This one is an amazing stretch, again, for your piriformis and for your glutes. Pulling in as closely as possible, everything from the side going down into your glutes and your piriformis. And the same idea goes for the other side. Boom. Now, a little bit of a harder way to do it on the floor is to stretch your gastrocnemius and your soleus. Because for that one, you would have to, by hand, grab the toe with the knee bent like so and pull as hard as you can. All right, this one stretches the soleus, just like it does when you put your toe against the wall, bend your knee and lean forward. Now for the calf or the gastrocnemius, you have to keep your leg fully straight out, reach for that toe and pull it towards you. That hits the gastrocnemius. But if you cannot reach because your flexibility doesn't even allow you to reach for your toe, then you're stuck with the standing wall option for that one. Your tibialis, that one is a little bit simpler than the standing one because now you don't have to worry about balance like you saw me almost tipping over on that one. But sitting on the floor, crossing your legs nicely, and again, moving your toe and your ankle gently, don't rip your ankle off, moving it gently to feel, there we go, right in the front over here where the muscle is. As I mentioned, it is a small muscle, but it can cause havoc if you get a shin splint because it's not stretched properly. So pay some attention to that muscle as well. It'll thank you in the long run. So holding it nice and easy, same thing you do on one leg, you do to the other. And just as simple as that, you complete the floor stretches. So there you have it, guys. Some very simple stretches that you can do after the leg and ab workout that we have posted a couple of days back. These are just a couple of guidelines to give you guys some ideas. Again, as I mentioned in the previous videos, I am not a yoga instructor, so I'm not trying to teach you guys any kind of yoga moves, but some of the stretches do happen to overlap with some professional yoga moves, so they are very simple. All I caution you guys is, first off, never to stretch out cold muscles. Second, never go jerking into the stretch, either when you're going in or you're coming out of the stretch. Never pump the stretch out, and do be very careful with your back. Keeping your back straight in certain stretches and controlled in others, so always keep a mindful that your back is now in a contorted position, is just as important as keeping your back straight during a regular workout. You do not want to aggravate, injure, or pull the back in any way, because that is just as bad, if not worse, than when you strain and pull a muscle. So be very watchful of those kinds of things, guys, in the stretches. And just as a little bit of a recap, you want to hold each stretch for 30 to 60 seconds, go gently into it, breathe easily, and while you're in the stretch, you feel just minor, very little stretch / discomfort / pain in the muscle, if you will, but nothing that resembles stabbing pain, ripping pain, or any kind of high discomfort. If you're doing that, you're either doing something wrong, the area is injured, and you should definitely stop doing that stretch right at that point and seek some attention from a medical professional and see what's happening in that particular area of your body. If you guys have any kind of questions, we'll be more than happy to answer them. Drop us a comment below this video. We'll get back to you guys within 24 hours. Any kind of questions or concerns, they're all welcome and they'll all be answered within 24 hours. My name is Dragos from Strong Dragon Training, the Flame of Fitness. Thank you so much for watching this video. Like and subscribe to our channel. We'll catch you on the next video.